Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallor Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. With the rapidly increasing world population and a warming climate, are plant-based alternatives to meat the future?
I would like to believe that imitation is the best form of flattery, right? So you like our product so much that you're going to try to imitate it.
But some Hoosier farmers say the movement to save the planet by eating less meat is misleading. We're learning more details about the construction schedule for the final stretch of I-69. Creepy and touchy. That's how the woman accusing the state's attorney general of inappropriately touching them last year at a party described Curtis Hill. Coming up, the latest on the hearing that sees Hill defending his law license. And forget the latest video games from Sony or Microsoft. Vintage arcade games are making a comeback.
Now there's a way to introduce a younger generation to what it was you enjoyed. And I see it embraced more now, today, than ever.
Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, it could be months before we know whether the state Supreme Court will punish Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill for allegedly groping a state lawmaker and 3 legislative staffers last year at a party. In his testimony, Hill called the charges vicious and false. Hill was defiant this week during his hearing at the State House on professional misconduct charges. Our State House reporter Brandon Smith was at this week's hearing. Brandon, could you walk us through a little bit through this week's testimony? What happened at the State House this week?
Sure. It was 4 days long. It was 26 witnesses, hours of testimony, dozens of pieces of evidence like emails, text messages, documents sent back and forth between Hill and some of his staffers and outside consultants. So much of it was what we had sort of heard already throughout the last year and a half. The 4 women who say Curtis Hill groped them testified on the first day, and then the following couple of days were a lot of people, many people corroborating what they had already testified to. Some people that the defense called to rebut what they had said, or at least said that they didn't see Curtis Hill do anything. Though there was a bombshell, I would say. We heard a new allegation that we hadn't heard at any point in this process before from a former employee of Curtis Hill's in Elkhart.
Before we get to that, though, really quick, how were these hearings different from the Inspector General's report back in October 2018?
Well, for one thing, they were public. The Inspector General's report was entirely done privately. It was an investigation. What this was it utilized some of the witnesses that the Inspector General talked to in her investigation. But what this was a public process, a disciplinary commission complaint that could see Curtis Hill lose his law license. The Inspector General's report was whether he violated any state ethics rules. And then, of course, there was the special prosecutor's decision as part of that to decide whether or not to press criminal charges.
So now you mentioned another woman came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct. Now this time, this is when Hill was the Elkhart County prosecutor. So will this affect the proceedings at all?
It's tough to say. We'll see what the hearing officer, Myra Selby, and then later the Indiana Supreme Court decides to do with Curtis Hill in this case, and what, if any, role this new allegation will play. This new allegation was that Curtis Hill, while the Elkhart County prosecutor, made an explicit sexual advance to this woman who was a subordinate and married at the time, as was Curtis Hill. The disciplinary commission said that this was part of a pattern of conduct that they're trying to establish for Curtis Hill. But again, we won't know what effect it has until a decision is made.
And so I guess that's what we're waiting on now. Is there any timeline on how long that could take, or what's next for Hill right now?
Right. Well, at a minimum, it's at least 2 months before we even hear from Myra Selby, the hearing officer, as to a recommendation for what should happen to Hill. There's some technical things that have to happen before she does that. And then that gets essentially appealed to the Indiana Supreme Court, who makes the final decision. But that could legitimately be May or June of next year, even at the earliest.
Okay, Brandon, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, the Nashville Town Council is taking steps to ease concerns some business owners have about the upcoming auction of several properties in the historic downtown district. As Adam Pinsker reports, some people are worried they might lose their business.
For nearly 3 decades, Sally Baldwin has owned the Brown County Weavery in downtown Nashville.
I weave majority of what I sell here in the shop,
Including Afghans, outerwear, and hats. The building that houses her business is one of 16 up for auction next week. All the properties were once owned by Annie Rogers, who passed away last year.
He was kind of a local character and kind of did things on a handshake in a lot of cases, and so that's what's happening. That's why some don't have leases at this point.
And some of the uncertainty surrounding the future of these businesses has left business owners like Baldwin feeling uneasy.
not knowing what the new owner would want for his or her shops. Like maybe they wouldn't want craftspeople any longer.
Nashville's town council took steps to address those concerns by strengthening its existing zoning ordinance. The changes include adding an extensive review process before any buildings older than 50 years can be demolished. It also increases permit costs and fines for violations.
There's a permitting process that they need to go through, and if they bypass that, then they are penalized up to 180 days for the violation, $2,500 a day.
Baldwin says the new rules give her some peace of mind that the buildings will be preserved.
So I'm glad that they did pass that ordinance where now the shops can be preserved and kept the way they are.
The auction is Wednesday beginning at 1. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Auction bids will be accepted online, by phone, and in person. Taken together, the properties up for sale represent about a third of all downtown Nashville. Well, for years, animal agriculture has been a driver of economic growth across Indiana, but an unforeseen consequence of that growth could be damaging the environment. As part of our City Limits series, reporter Brock Turner looks into the impact cattle have on the environment and what role consumers can play.
It's a simple question with a less than simple answer. The majority of those greenhouse gases come from large animals, like cattle and lamb. The animals graze on a large amount of grasses, and here in Indiana and throughout the Midwest, their diets are often supplemented with large quantities of grains. In addition to the resources they consume, cattle also release methane gas into the air through burping and flatulence. The burping is a far greater source of greenhouse gases. Purdue University Climate Research Center Director Jeff Dukes says Americans are consuming significantly more meat today than they did even 50 years ago, and that's putting a strain on the global supply chain.
And, you know, even if you went back 50 years, people in the U.S. ate much less meat than they do today. If we get down to those levels where people are eating meat at the rate we did 50 years ago, that's getting a lot closer to sustainability.
But he's not trying to keep people from eating meat entirely. Dukes admits his son is a big fan of cheeseburgers.
Cutting down a little bit is pretty easy. Just thinking every once in a while about not having a cheeseburger, not having a steak, switching to a more environmentally friendly option. That's a pretty easy thing to do once.
He says estimates show about 18% of current greenhouse gases come from large animals like cattle. But a UN climate change report published earlier this year says raising meat requires more land and water resources than plants. But Jamie Hodgen believes that statistic doesn't tell the full story. She grew up around cows and comes from a family of farmers and ranchers in New Mexico. She's currently raising her own on a farm in Rochdale and studies them professionally as a food scientist.
As people get concerned about our cattle having an impact on the environment in a way that we can't overcome, I wish they would come and talk to us.
Hodgen says conservation is top of mind for her and other meat producers.
We're each trying to utilize the resources that we have in our area to raise our cattle. And so because in a lot of cases conservation means survival for the next year, having enough grass so that our cows can eat over the winter, and other things. we do try to do what's right in terms of, making sure that the land is available for my kids to come back.
She finds it hard to believe that plant-based alternatives will have an impact on her operation. The plant-based market is growing, and fast. That's perhaps best illustrated in Shelby County, across the state from Hodgins Farm in Roachdale. Chicago-based Greenleaf Foods recently announced it would build the largest plant-based protein production facility in North America here.
We started the process about 1.5 years ago as we recognized where this category was going and our commitment to invest in adding more capacity into the system. So we knew we needed to build another facility, and we did extensive studies trying to figure out where was the best place.
Curtin says the facility's central location will contribute to the company's conservation pledge and help in the creation of new products. In addition to a shift in consumer tastes, he believes the taste of the products themselves keep people coming back.
We actually did some product tastings down in Shelbyville. We had a barbecue down there, and we had a number of people from the town come, and they were incredibly impressed with the quality of product, the type of products that it was, and it was a bit of surprise yourself. This category is changing so rapidly. There's no doubt that this is a trend. It's not a fad. People are looking for options. They're looking for alternatives. Our plant-based food products give them those options.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice surprise.
And most admit the taste has gotten better. Among them is Shelbyville's Director of Economic Development, Brian Asher.
It really, it tastes like a normal burger, and it was really good. They were nice enough to donate to a mayor's luncheon that we had out in our downtown.
Despite all of the growth in the plant-based segment, Hodgins says farmers and ranchers should do a better job communicating what she calls a net positive impact on the environment.
When you put a pound of corn into a ruminant animal that has a very cool digestive system that can make a higher quality protein, you actually end up with a lower calorie, higher quality product with all of your digestible amino acids that you're not going to find if you're looking at plant-based as a nutritional substitute for beef.
Dukes says many of the analyses he's read don't necessarily agree, and instead state that plant-based alternatives have a lower impact on the environment than beef products. But nearly everyone agrees the plant-based industry is a substitute rather than a threat to the meat industry. Greenleaf is an independent subsidiary of Maple Leaf Foods, a packaged meat company.
We do not see this impacting the meat business. We see this just expanding how people find protein. People are looking for options of protein. They should have their steak, they should have their chicken, they should have their fish, whatever means that they have. We believe do anything you want, but do it in moderation.
Hodgins says the impact animals in agriculture as a whole have on their communities is priceless.
We haven't done a good job of sharing all the awesome things that the ag industry in a whole does to ensure that we have schools in rural areas and hospitals in rural areas, not to mention keeping the land productive so that you can have affordable food.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. INDOT is finalizing plans for the final stretch of I-69 from Martinsville to Indianapolis. What motorists can expect just ahead. And classic video games are making a comeback. Coming up, the retro gaming revival and why people are turning to the old classics. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing.
For insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the Senate.
You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Construction crews are starting work on the final stretch of I-69, but as Adam Pinsker reports, it's going to be more difficult for drivers commuting through Martinsville before it gets easier.
Whether you live in Martinsville or just drive through, machinery and lane closures are the norm, not the exception anymore.
Sometimes you have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish something.
Deputy Director for INDOT's major projects, Sarah Rubin, rolling out the final phases of the I-69 expansion project, which will convert the 26 miles of State Road 37 between Martinsville and Indianapolis into the interstate, I-69. The price tag of the entire project is about $4 billion. The section just from Martinsville to Indianapolis is about $1.6 billion. INDOT wants to complete the project by 2024. But to stick to that timeline, INDOT will have to close a 5-mile section of State Road 37 in Martinsville starting in 2021.
During that full closure, obviously it's safer for everyone. It'll be faster, so this project will get off the ground faster.
During construction, detour drivers heading north will have to drive on to State Road 39, then State Road 67, and on to State Road 144 before getting back on 37. When the project is finished, there won't be any more traffic lights in Martinsville. There will be 3 exits plus an overpass on the Grand Valley Boulevard.
That will not only carry vehicular traffic, but pedestrians and bikes. So Martinsville residents will be able to bike across or walk across the overpass to be able to get to the shopping and the restaurants.
INDOT officials say the traffic headaches caused by the construction will be a short-term inconvenience when you compare it to the long-term benefits of having a major continuous interstate linking Indianapolis to Evansville.
When you think about Indiana, one of our slogans is the crossroads of America, right? And if you look at our state map, it's almost kind of like the spokes of a wheel. And I-69 from Indianapolis to Evansville was that missing spoke.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Well, Spencer Pride says the Owen County Commission is targeting its annual Pride Festival. The commission proposed a controversial ordinance this week that would make it more difficult to have special events on county property. As Mitch Legan reports, Spencer Pride is accusing the commissioners of purposely deceiving the public about their motivations for changing the festival rules.
High fees in the proposed ordinance would make it difficult to hold a special event on county property. Spencer Pride hosts an annual festival on the courthouse grounds each summer. The Owen County Commissioners had originally considered ordinance changes after receiving what they called a petition from taxpayers complaining about festival costs. But controversy arose after those petitions turned out to be form letters describing the Spencer Pride Fest as inappropriate for children. Festivals are also important to the economic health of Owen County and the town of Spencer. So residents have been showing up to the commissioners' meetings in force to show their support for both Spencer Pride and the festivals. Despite the crowd at Monday's meeting, Commissioners President Jeff Brothers did not allow for public comment and instead set aside time at the next commissioners' meeting.
There wasn't any time. It's a late night meeting and we want to get everybody home on time.
The next meeting is at 9 a.m. on November 4th. Some residents called the commissioners' actions a blatant attempt to shut down the Pride Fest because most people have to work Mondays at 9. Those who wish to comment on the proposed ordinance have to make an official request to be put on the agenda in advance. The deadline is Wednesday at noon. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.
Well, retro video games are making a comeback. Instead of the latest system from Sony, Nintendo, or Microsoft, many gamers are opting for the classics. As Seth Tackett reports, collectors of all ages are snapping up arcade games and often going to great lengths to get them.
To a lot of people, Billy Mitchell is the face of retro gaming. Fans in Indianapolis lined up for autographs, and Mitchell greeted them with his sense of humor and strong personality.
Some people would say I'm just a stubborn son of a gun. Some people would say worse. Either way, it's probably true.
Billy Mitchell, as we all know, is a very, very esteemed video gamer. Pac-Man, high scores, all things like that. So he is another invited guest that we have here, because a big part of conventions too, as opposed to comics and the pop culture, is definitely video games, and having that kind of a video game presence here is definitely an awesome choice for us.
But at a time when video game technology is improving so quickly that it's hard to distinguish between what is real and what is pixelated, why is a player famous for playing Pac-Man being met by so many adoring fans? Retro video games and arcades are making a comeback. Mitchell says for a lot of gamers, it's about that feeling of nostalgia.
There's two different aspects to the fun that I look at that we see behind me. I see people who, all the way back, say, to high school and beyond, the fun they had, the pastime they had, because arcades were all the rage. It's where you wanted to be. Other age groups that you wanted to be at a concert or you wanted to do something else. But in my group, everybody wanted to be at the arcades. It was incredible.
Like Mitchell, Bedford orthodontist Todd Curtis loved the bright lights and sounds of the arcades in the 80s. So much that he took them to work.
Many years ago, I started collecting arcade games, so my house started to fill up a little bit with these machines. And I always had this dream in my mind that I would have an arcade in my office for my patients to play. And I had 3 or 4 arcade games in, and it was an immediate hit. That's all I heard from the patients. You know, it was the coolest thing they had seen. And so over the years, we've grown and we've added more games. But what we find is that people get here early for their appointments because they want to play the games. And so we can run ahead of schedule during the day quite a bit.
Curtis's garage is filled with monitors, capacitors, and boards. Some of these games are more than 40 years old. He is currently in the middle of refurbishing his collection, and a new project came along that he just couldn't pass up.
Right, so one of my memories from my childhood at the arcades was playing an old game called Atari Hard Driving, which really simulated driving at an age where I had just gotten a driver's license.
Curtis and his son traveled to Wisconsin to pick up the game's sequel, and another classic.
So these are the 2 games that we picked up in Wisconsin, the Afterburner and the Race Driving. Still have some cosmetic issues that we'll fix, like the sides of this panel. But otherwise, we've got these back up and almost back to their glory days.
Like Curtis, another area business owner took his love of video games to work and brought it to downtown Bloomington. After working in his father's bar, the Video Saloon, Jeremy Black and his fiancée Chelsea Long opened up the Cade in 2017 after they noticed a niche, nerdy need missing in the local bar scene.
A lot of bars in Bloomington don't have is an entertainment value. So like at the Vid upstairs, there's pool and darts, and you have a bar. But a lot of bars in this town are just geared towards drinking, which somebody who was raised in a bar that has more to offer than just drinking, something that I've always been attached to is video games and just nerd culture in general.
Until these barcades began popping up, there was almost no way to introduce the younger generation to what it was you did. And I saw very few young people playing video games other than playing a platform at home. Now there's a way to introduce a younger generation to what it was you enjoyed. And I see it embraced more now, today, than ever.
In their free time, Black and Long chased the high score of their favorite game, Centipede, a game they hadn't even played until they began to build their classic collection.
It was the best market research ever. We would go from arcade bar to arcade bar in the Midwest and play these games and figure out which ones we liked the most. And 2 very competitive people, we never stood a chance at breaking any of those high scores at any of those arcade bars that we went to, because the people that have been playing them for a long time, like Billy Mitchell, but obviously he's the best of the best, but I mean, like, even my dad could come in here and stomp me in Asteroids or in Galaga. You have to get 100 points. Ah, you got me.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Seth Tackett.
And Halloween is less than a week away, so if you haven't picked out a costume, time's running out. Benta Boutier went to the Halloween Superstore in Bloomington to find out what's popular this year. As she found out, for children, it's the usual princesses and superheroes, but adults are looking for something different.
It's been locally owned and operated for 50 years. In February would be year 50. It started in 1970 as a small rental store, and it's grown. I've owned it for the last 16 years and raised my kids in this store. Also, we have thousands. We have almost every costume imaginable that you could create or find here. We're one of the largest Halloween stores by the amount of product that we have in the Midwest. We have kids' costumes from infant all the way up to plus size. So everything imaginable is in this store if you want it for costumes, to create your own costume if you cosplay, or if you just want to buy a package costume and check out and go and put it on. There's been a trend back to more scary and horror stuff. So your vampires and your witches and your zombies have definitely resurged in the last few years. lot more gore than there used to be. The sexy trend has kind of gone by the wayside, and sort of more fun and modest type of costumes. Animal onesies are still very, very popular. Pennywise, everything has pretty much already sold out everywhere you go. The Purge is still pretty popular. Hocus Pocus was sort of one of those sleepers that a lot of people didn't expect. So a lot of people are trying to create Hocus Pocus costumes.
According to the National Retail Federation, consumers nationally plan to spend $3.2 billion on costumes, and slightly less than half of Americans say they plan to dress up. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.